Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Colt White. We've got a Rainbow Weekend preview for you here, going over all of the Rainbow races, the Consolation, the Derby Consolation, the Oaks Derby, and of course the $1 Million Futurity. If you haven't already, go look at Louisiana Showcase Night preview released yesterday, headlining the Lee Berwick Futurity Delta Downs Derby and Louisiana Classic there at Vinton, Louisiana. So let's get right into the Rainbow preview. Kind of going to go in order here for these rainbow races. We'll start with the Rainbow Invitational Saturday night. It's race 6 on the card, $100,000 purse, 440 yards the distance for the 3-year-olds that did not quite make the Derby. Field of 10 and 1 also eligible here. I'm going to go with the 6 on top. That's Cyber Blues at 3-1. Gelding by Cyber Monday out of Mystic Blues by Walk Through Fire, owned by Rancho L48 LLC. Rodolfo Valles, the trainer, the jockey Christian Cardenas. He's had 3 starts this year, has been close each time, but hadn't gotten a win yet. This 3-year-old season finished third in the trials for the Heritage Place Derby, ended up coming back to run a nice fourth in the Grade 2 finals, and then was third in the Rainbow Trials last time out behind Point Blank Range and Jess Hot Z. Was beaten about a length, or excuse me, about half a length for the whole thing. Clean trip, nice bid, just wasn't quite enough for Point Blank Range and others in that one. Last year at 2, ran fourth in the Heritage Place Juvenile and was also a finalist in the Grade 1 Texas Classic Futurity. So they'll only the one win in 10 attempts, but has had 3 seconds and 2/3 to go along with that, and 75,000 in earnings so far for Cyber Blues. Second, I'm going to take the 2 AJ's Wingman at 9-2, a gelding by Apolitical Jess out of Exhume by Shazoom. Paul Treadwell, the owner and breeder, Jason Olmstead, the trainer, Ramiro Garcia will have the call. 5 starts this year for AJ's Wingman. Started out in the Oklahoma Derby trials, a nice second, didn't qualify though. Fourth against Allowance Company, runner up in the trials for the Heritage Place Derby, qualified to the Grade 2 finals there, and ended up 6th after having a bit of a stumbling beginning for AJ's Wingman. Kind of lost all shot from there. And then was third in the trials for the Rainbow last time out behind Political Twist. Ended up being the fastest qualifier. Unleashed was second in that race, also qualified to the Derby. So he was beaten, oh, let's see, about 2 lengths for the whole thing. But of course, those two were some of the fastest of the day. Last year at 2, AJ's Wingman really didn't burst onto the scene until qualifying to the All American. Had a nice trial performance, won by a neck there, and posted a very solid time. Ended up 5th in the Grade 1 finals there. Kind of ran mid pack throughout there, but and did go to Will Rogers at the end of the year last year. Just didn't have much luck down there. He's had 3 wins, 3 seconds, and a third from 12 attempts, and nearing 200,000 in earnings for AJ's Wingman. Third, I'll go to the 9 Expensive Boots at 15-1. Gelding by FDD Dynasty out of La Eagle by One Famous Eagle for owners Cream of the Crop Incorporated. Heber Dieta Melendez, the trainer, and the jockey Brian Barraza. 4 starts this year for Expensive Boots. Ran fourth the first 2 times out in the trials and finals of the Grade 3 West Texas Derby there at Sunland. Finished 8th in the Ruidoso Derby trials. Was getting a lot of play that day, too. Veered out at the start, though, and didn't have much of a chance from there. And then last time out in the Rainbow Trials, beaten by a Get Gone 1-2-3 by a neck. So just about a neck off of qualifying. Get Gone 1-2-3, I believe, was 8th fastest going in to the Rainbow Derby. Still a solid 21.346, the time of 440. Just a game second there for Expensive Boots. Last year at 2, ended up winning a couple of trials, but did manage to qualify to the All-American Juvenile, finished 7th in that race there. Has been first or second 5 of 12 trips, 54,000 earnings for Expensive Boots, kind of my longer shot pick if he stays that way. And then for fourth, I'll go to the 8 Traction at 7-2, a gelding by Freight Train B out of Telerosa by Jet Black Patriot, Abraham Escobedo, the owner, Jorge Morales Flores, the trainer, and Jesse Lavario will have the call. Pretty lightly raced Traction. He's 4 for 7 lifetime, 2 for 3 this year. The 2 wins both came at Sunland Park. Won the trial and the final of the Grade 3 West Texas Derby. Ended up 5th in the Rainbow Derby trials. Broke from the rail. Was in the same trial with Point Blank Rage and Cyber Blues. Uh, veered in a bit and just didn't put forth his best effort a couple of weeks ago. I don't think that that's going to be a repeat occurrence. Last year, he did win the La Fiesta Futurity, a grade 3 there at Albuquerque, and was also a finalist in the Southwest Juvenile Invitational, earner of over 330,000 now in traction. So 6'9" or 6'2", 9'8", I should say, in the Rainbow Invitational. On to the grade 1 Rainbow Oaks, over a $500,000 purse for the 3-year-old fillies, going 440 yards in a full field of 10. It's pretty hard not to go with the 3 top choices here. I mean, these 3 just stand out amongst the rest of the field. My top choice is going to be the 6, GF She's Sinful at 9-5, a daughter of Dulce Sentacha, out of the Foose mare, BF Foose Outrageous. All in partners, the owners, Wes Giles, the trainer, and the jockey, Noe Garcia Jr. She's 2 for 3 this year and 5 for 7 lifetime. Of course, picked up that big win in the Ruidoso Derby against the boys to kind of kick off the year. Had the fastest time going into that as well, and managed to win that final by a length. Post a solid 18.925 for the 400. That was a 107 speed index there in that Derby. In the trials, last time out, of course, beaten by Toby Sis. We'll get to that one more here in a moment. Beaten 3/4 of a length. The game second in that one, just didn't quite have enough that day. Last year at 2, won all but one race, and that was the Texas Classic Futurity Finals. Ended up 10th after about as bad a start as you could ask for. Ended up 10th in that one. GFC Sinful, 5 for 7, an earner of 360,000 so far. And then we'll go to the 5, Toby Sis at 7-5. A daughter of Favorite Cartel out of London Laura by Walk Through Fire. Valriano Racing Stables LLC, the owners. Raymond Valerio, the trainer. Jockey Francisco Calderon. She is 2 for 3 this year. Won a trial first time out of the year for the Heritage Place Oaks. Qualified to that grade 2 final. Ended up 5th behind Chewbacca, Where C, and others. And that one not far off of it. About a length and a half or so off of the winner in that Heritage. And then, of course, just mentioned the trial for the Rainbow. Bore out a bit at the start, but still broke on top more or less and kind of went gate to wire in that 3/4 length win. Last year at 2, qualified and ran second in the PCQHRA Breeders' Futurity and also won the Los Al 2 million Futurity. So nearing that $1 million mark in earnings, a good performance on Saturday night will definitely get to that $1 million mark. 890,000 in earnings for Toby Sis. Third, I'll go to the 8, Beautiful at 6-1. Daughter of Kavia and Corona out of Butterthink Twice by First Down Dash. Keith Nellison, the owner. Joel Gonzalez, the trainer. And the jockey, Rodrigo Vallejo. She's 3 for 3 this year and 8 for 10 lifetime. Won a trial first time out of the year for the Los Al Oaks. Came back to win that grade 1 final by a head. And then had that layoff before the Rainbow. Of course, got the win there. Decent beginning. Broke in a bit. Dueled with Ideal and RC Asticos Kitten pretty much throughout and managed to get up by a neck there in the end. Last year at 2, won the grade 2 kindergarten futurity at Los Al, was also a finalist in the Golden State and Los Al 2 million, actually finished 4th in that 2 million with Toby Sis. Actually originally was 5th and then moved up to 4th off DQ. Beautiful, earner of nearly $500,000 now going into the Oaks. And then to round out my top selections, I'll take the 9, Rockstar Martini at 12-1. Daughter of Just Good Candy out of Martinis and Bikinis by Red Stormcat. Life's a Dream Farm and Racing LLC, the owners. Rodolfo Valles, the trainer, and the jockey, Joseph Bellick Jr. 2 for 2 this year. Picked up an allowance win on, I think that was Ruidoso Derby night. An impressive win by a length, drawing clear in the end and posting a 103 speed index in the process. Also won her Oaks trial. Not quite as impressively, but still a 3/4 length win and another driving finish under Joseph Bellick Jr. Last year at 2 was a finalist in the West Texas Juvenile and ran well in some other trials, just didn't quite make the finals. So 3 for 7 lifetime, 145,000 earnings for Rockstar Martini. So 6, 5, 8, 9 is what I've got in the Rainbow Oaks. Take a break from the picks and let's talk to jockey Ramiro Garcia ahead of his Rainbow mounts this weekend. So first of all, I wanted to talk to you about your big weekend this past weekend with Apolitical Dreamer and the Prairie Meadows Gold Futurity. Tell us what that moment was like from your point of view.
Awesome. He honestly he's just an honest horse. He stands really good in the gate. I mean, just knows what he's gonna do. The only thing in the trial I noticed, I don't know if he's looking at something inside. He's trying to fight out. So I was just scared of him trying to go out a little too much and us getting disqualified. So you can kind of see his head a little cocked to the left there, but I felt like I had a horse, so I kind of hold off of him, and just kept looking out the outside, making sure we're in the front. So it looked a little tight, but like I said, I felt like I had a horse. Just couldn't really let him go, or else probably get me in trouble. But yeah, he's a really nice horse. Just there's something about that inside that he was looking at.
Right. Did you have a pretty good feeling though when you hit the wire? I know. I mean, that was one of the closest races you'll probably see all year.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. There's sometimes that it's a tight race, and you're just like, oh man, who got the nod and everything. But I felt even when mine was cranked back, and they stride out, I felt like we were still in front. So I was pretty confident we did get it. But like I said, I mean, I really don't like being that close. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd want to just let them go all out. But like I said, out here we gotta be careful. Well, everywhere, any track, you gotta be careful. Sometimes you win and then get DQ'd, so that's the worst feeling. Um, so yeah, but I felt pretty good about it, and thank God, yeah, it was for us this year.
Moving on to this weekend, let's start with your Oaks horse, Illegal Cowgirl 123. What can you tell us about her?
Nice. You know, we changed ended up putting her on rig, not because she's not crazy or anything, but she likes moving around. So she's those last times she'd kind of get herself beat there at the gate, and we know she can break. She breaks pretty fast, and she hasn't just because any noise or anything. She kind of want to look at it or take a step back or just does something little that to mess up that break, and then you know sometimes you don't break good, so they'll close you or something happens, but you with horses that level, you kind of got to get the best break you can to have a chance. And it looks like she did better on the rig, broke a little better, but I think we could still break a little faster. So hopefully that helped her out.
How about Famous and Relentless in the Derby? You're pretty familiar with him at this point, and what do you think it is about him that's made him as consistent as he's been these last 2 years?
Oh man, I tell you what, I think and now he's been breaking. I mean, a lot faster. It was awesome. That last run he did. I mean, he really impressed me, and so he wasn't finishing. I don't know what it was. He wasn't just finishing as strong. And there's sometimes you can see in the pictures, even he'll throw his ears up, and it's like, what are you looking at? And so it's hard to keep him running. You don't know what to do. But that last one, I mean, he gave it his all, and like I said, he's breaking really strong. So we're just hoping he's just going to be getting better.
You know, he's 3 out of 4 now at Albuquerque. Is there anything that you feel different about him when he's at Albuquerque versus anywhere else?
I think he really likes it. I don't know the surface or what it is, but that's probably the place that he's been breaking the fastest. And like I said, finished really strong this last time. So I think that win too over there, though, that win is what knocked him out. He still ran pretty fast, but still had his ears up. So I just blame the wind on that. But like I said, I think he really likes it there. It feels like he runs really comfortable, finishes strong.
Let's get into the big one for the weekend with Ask Her to Fly and the Rainbow Futurity. What's she like to work with?
Oh man, that's probably what you want every horse to be. She's just the nicest horse. Almost feels like a kid horse. You ride her, anybody can jump around her, kick, do whatever, and she'll just look over and not even care. But then if you smooch her, ask her to go, she'll pull pretty hard on you. She'll try to take off on you, but like I said, she's just all class, all game. So I'm pretty excited. She breaks from the get go. She breaks, and her ask her or not, she's running all out. So I'm pretty excited. So hopefully get a nice clean break. And that's all we can hope for. I'm pumped.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. You know, it seems like everything really clicked for her at Albuquerque. Do you think those 2 races at Remington under her belt early kind of helped her in the long run now, getting into this deep part of the summer here?
Yes, way more. Uh, like I said, she's never been like the looking type or anything, but now she just goes out there full confident. She really don't look at nothing. She's just kind of waiting for you, what you asked for her. So I don't know. We feel really good about it. Tough horses and everything, but I mean, she showed she can run too. So we'll see.
On to the headliner Saturday night. That is race 9, the Grade 1 Rainbow Derby for $755,000. This week's race of the week. You can go see more of what I said about these horses, or a few of them anyway, on that post for race of the week on social media. Pretty tough race to pick from here. I mean, this is just a star studded cast. As I mentioned in that post, I mean, these are some of the best 3-year-olds in the country by far. Won't be surprised if a lot of these end up making the All American Derby as well here in about a month. Ended up going with the 5. The favorite didn't go out on much of a limb there, but Political Twist at 3-1. Gelding by Apolitical Jess out of the Trey Sace mare Sea Twister Sace for owners La Feliz, Montana Ranch, and Ray Willis. Daniel Amaya, the trainer, and the jockey Louise Martinez, the champion gelding, 7 for 10. Lifetime. First start of the year was in the trials, had the fastest time here for the Derby and a half length win. Bumped a bit at the start, but pulled clear late over Unleashed and AJ's Wingman, a couple we talked about earlier on. Of course, just a fantastic year last year, picking up champion 2-year-old and 2-year-old gelding honors. Won the Grade 2 West Texas Futurity, the Grade 1 Ruidoso Futurity, was runner-up in the All-American as well, and a finalist in the year in the Los Al 2 Million. One of his only defeats. He actually hit the gate that night and just had all sorts of trouble. Earner of 1.1 million though in those 7 lifetime wins. So definitely the richest in the field and one of the richest of all time in Political Twist. Second, I'll go to the 4 Point Blank Range at 9-2. This is a gelding by Tel Cartel out of Fanny Blankers by Bodacious Dash, owned by 918 Bloodstock, D. Keener, the trainer, Roman Cruz will be aboard. Perfect 4 for 4 this year. Actually didn't even break his maiden until the Remington Park Derby trials. That's where this winning streak started. Only had 2 starts, though, last year, and they were, I mean, not bad at all. Third in the All-American trials and runner-up in the Dash for Cash trials. So, again, started the year off strong in April with that win in the Remington Park Derby trials. Didn't make the finals, though. Came back to put together a nice performance in the Heritage Derby trials, though, in a half-length win. Qualified and won the finals for that Grade 2 event and really just blew them away in that one. The final margin says a length, but I feel like it might have been more than a length over JC Speeding as Stablemate and Argyles and Cyber Blues, the one we talked about a little while ago. In the Rainbow Trials last time out, broke from the same post 4, managed to win by a neck in the end. Battled there throughout and proved best over Jess Hot Z. Really one that's burst on the scene this year that I really like now. It's been a lot of fun to watch this year. Earner of 165,000 now in Point Blank Range. Third, I'll go to the 6, Famous and Relentless at 6-1. A gelding by He's Relentless out of Tri-Tune by Trey Sace, Tom Maher and Amber Olmstead, the owners, Jason Olmstead, the trainer, and Ramiro Garcia with the call. It's been busy this year, 2 for 5. Hasn't been off the board yet this year. Was third in the Remington Park Derby trials. Didn't make the finals there, but ran a game second to stablemate Uncle Redheads in the Mr. Masterbug, a Grade 3 there at Oklahoma City. Also finished third in his Ruidoso Derby trial, but came back to a bang-up race in the Ruidoso Invitational by a half-length win and a really solid time there as well. And then last time out, continued his winning ways in the Rainbow Trials. Broke a little farther outside than he will Saturday night, but not by much. Broke on top, led throughout, and a driving length finish there over Merkaba and Famous Talk in his trial heat. Last year at 2, had another really nice year. Won the Remington Park Juvenile. Was also a finalist in the Oklahoma Mystery Futurity and 4th in the Black Gold Colton Geldings Futurity to end the year last year. Earner of nearly 200,000 now and the 7-time winner, Famous and Relentless. And then 4th, I'll go to the 1, Jarvis V at 7-2. Gelding by Apolitical Jess out of Denelli by Big Daddy Cartel. Valeriano Racing Stables, the owners, Raymond Valerio, the trainer, and the jockey, Francisco Calderon. Another one that's been busy this year with 5 starts. Ran third in the Grade 1 Los Al Winter Derby early in the year. finished second in the Riadoso Derby behind GF She's Sinful, was much the best for the rest of that field anyway. And then in the trials for this one last time out, kind of had a rough beginning. Was kind of cut off a bit at the start, but as most Valeriano horses do, they got up late to win at a nice 21-169 the time for Jarvis V. Definitely can't count him out. Last year at 2, ran in a bunch of trials, didn't have any luck though until the loss out 2 million, qualified to the consolation and won that consolation, nearing that $200,000 mark in earnings for Jarvis Fee as well. So in the Rainbow Derby, I got the 5 Political Twist on top, the 4 Point Blank Range second, the 6 Famous and Relentless third, and the 1 Jarvis Fee in for fourth. 5-4, 6-1 in the Derby. Moving on to Sunday with the 2-year-olds in action. Let's go with the Rainbow Juvenile here for $100,000, 400 yards of distance. And it is a field of 10 and 2 alsos here for the consolation. My top choice is going to be the 3 Crash for Cash, one that originally had qualified, and then after that appeal on Bet the Limit getting in off that DQ, ends up getting knocked back down to the consolation. Kind of sucks for the connections there. It's kind of a gray area for me. I don't know what to think one way or another on that. It's just unfortunate it had to go down that way. But I think he's damn sure good enough to win this juvenile after that performance in the trials. He is a son of Dulce Sintacha out of the PYC Paint Your Wagon mare Miss Merlot, owners Tom Maher and Stephen Williams. Jason Olmstead, the trainer, the jockey, Ramiro Garcia's 2 for 3 this year. First time out was the only defeat, and that was in the Remington Park Futurity trials. Was actually beat by some pretty good horses in that one, and PYC Dollars Cowboy and Apolitical Dreamer, who both ended up making, well, one made the Futurity and the other made the consolation for the Remington Park earlier in the year. He just kind of got forced into the start in that one and had no luck, and then broke his maiden at Remington to end the year, won by a half length after breaking in that one as well. But then in the trials, probably definitely his best race so far, broke from the far outside, came out a bit at the start and got up late to win by 3/4 of a length over FDD Eclipse. Look for him to put together a pretty good effort once again here in the consolation. He's earned 24,000 so far. Second, I'll go outside to the 10 Flying Cowboys Candy. Colt by Flying Cowboy 123 from the Cartels Candyman mare, Candy Cartels Candy. CHR Racing, the owners, Tony Cedillo, the trainer, and Luis Martinez will be aboard. 5 starts already this year for Flying Cowboys Candy. Finished third in the West Texas trials, qualified to the consolation, and finished second there. Also finished second in the Four Corners Futurity at Sunray Park. And then last time out was that trial performance, broke from post 4 and broke on top and drew clear by a bunch at a length and a quarter win for Flying Cowboys Candy. I expect him to get a lot of attention from the public. Earner of over 62,000 now for the Flying Cowboy Colt. Third, I'm going to take the 5, Just a Bad Little Cat. It's a gelding by Just Good Candy out of Cat Daddy's Little Girl by Big Daddy Cartel. Scott Branson and Jimmy Vasquez, the owners. David Gomez Barraza is the trainer. Jockey Oscar Andrade Jr. The gelding is 2 for 2 so far. Won a maiden at Sunray in late April. Got up to win by a neck in that one after a duel with Lethal Wind, one that has made a lot of noise this year as well. And then in the Rainbow Trials last time out, broke more toward the outside and broke out a bit. Not a good break at all, but got up in time to win by a neck. I was in the same trials, Candy in My Arms and BF Cyber Rages there on day 2. Earner of just over 20,000 now and Just a Bad Little Cat going into the consolation. And then fourth, I'll go to the 2, Mr. Roosevelt. Gelding by FDD Dynasty out of the Louisiana Senator mare. Time for the Senator. Zane Kane, the owner. John Steinball, the trainer. Gilberto Linares with the call. 4 starts and 1 win, and that was the first time out at Remington. Mr. Roosevelt broke more toward the inside. Bumped around quite a bit at the start, really, but despite all that, managed to get up by a neck on debut. Finished 4th in the Riadoso trials, made the consolation, finished 2nd there, and then was 3rd in this Rainbow trial last time out behind Commando and Tater Hill Senator. Bumped at the start again in that one, but had a nice bid to get third. So let's see if we can get a clean trip for Mr. Roosevelt on Sunday and see what kind of performance he has under his belt. One win, 1 second, and a third from 4 attempts, just over 30,000 in earnings for Mr. Roosevelt. So in the juvenile, I went 3 Crash for Cash, 10 Flying Cowboys Candy, 5 Just a Bad Little Cat, and 2 Mr. Roosevelt, 310, 5-2 in the juvenile. Last one here, on to the big one. $1 million Rainbow Futurity, 400 yards for the 2-year-olds, and a full field of 10 in this year's running. This one was pretty tough for me, too. Not quite as tough as the Derby, but this one was pretty tough. I ended up deciding on the 9, El Huracano V, as my top selection. Gelding by Golden Boy, at a Bellissima Chocolata by Valiant Hero, for owners Variana Racing Stables LLC, trainer Raymond Valerio, and jockey Francisco Calderon. He is 2 for 4 this year. Won a trial for the Heritage Place Futurity, second time out by 3/4 of a length, qualifying to the Grade 1 finals, where he just missed by a nostril in that one. That was one of the close finish behind Fall Classic. Uh, Duel with him throughout and just couldn't quite get there in the end. And then in the Rainbow Trials, had a very impressive effort a couple of weeks ago, broke on top and didn't look back, a 3-length winner in the trials. Much the best, much the best in that trial. Definitely one to look out for, and is going to get a lot of attention from the wagering public. Over 200,000 already in earnings for El Huracano V, looking to make that over 600,000 with the win on Sunday. Second, I'm going to go with one of my favorites this year, Ask Her to Fly. It was kind of a coin flip between these two. She's a daughter of Flying Cowboy 123 out of the Teller Cartel mare. Asked the question for owner Randy Geiselman, Jason Olmstead, the trainer, and Ramiro Garcia will have the call. She's 3 for 5 this year. Was fifth the first time out in the Remington Park Futurity trials, kind of in traffic early and didn't have much of a chance. Broke her maiden at Remington a couple of weeks later. Managed to get up by 3/4 of a length and a nice win. Really burst onto the scene in the Ruidoso Futurity trials, had an impressive length and a quarter win and posted a 101 speed index to have the fastest time. She ended up third in the Grade 1 finals behind, of course, Highly Lethal V and Lethal Wind, beating about a length and a half for the whole thing, but still had a solid time in that one. And then a couple of weeks ago in the trials, another just knockout performance. Broke on top and was even more impressive than the Ruidoso trial, nearly a 3-length win there, and a nice 19.57 the time for the 400. 128,000 earnings so far for Ask Her to Fly going into the finals. Third, I'm going to take the 8 Bluey. This is a daughter of FDD Dynasty out of Amor La Blue by Mr. Jess Perry. La Feliz Montana Ranch LLC, the owners, Daniel Amaya, the trainer, and Luis Martinez with the call. 1 for 2 this year, ran third in the Ruidoso trials at first asking. Didn't make the finals there. Was pushed in a bit at the start, but still ran a nice race. And then ended up breaking her maiden there impressively in the trials a couple of weeks ago. Got brushed a bit at the start, but was well clear late by a length in the end for Bluey. And finally, I'm going to go with the 4 Cartel Cowgirl 123 is my fourth selection, a daughter of Flying Cowboy 123 out of the Corona Cartel mare, Famous Cartel Lady, for owner Johnny Trotter. James Gonzalez, the second trains, and the jockey Joseph Bellick Jr. Made the debut in the Rainbow Trials, an impressive winner to set the fastest time on the first day. Ended up drawing off to win by 2 lengths in one of the final trials of the afternoon on day 1. Very impressive. I was kind of between Cartel Cowgirl 123 and also Bet the Limit. Really liked the experience for Bet the Limit. You know, made the Heritage, ran nice in that, and had some impressive victories as well. But just the recency here, Cartel Cowgirl 123, that was so impressive. I ended up going with her over that one. So it's kind of a deal there. I'm just stuck between those two, and I'm still on the fence about it. I might even be changing my mind come Sunday, wishing I'd have went Bet the Limit, but I'll go Cartel Cowgirl here with my final selections. 9-5-8-4 in the Rainbow Futurity, El Huracano V, my top selection. That will wrap up this episode. Thank you all for listening. Check out that Louisiana Showcase preview if you haven't already. Always a big night down there at Delta Downs. And I'll talk to y'all next time. Thanks.